Get up out your seats. Coming to the ring. Now, but I'm wondering if you can bring it. With one win, no losses. Undefeated in the streets. Weighing in over 300 pounds. IHWE Radio. When the round bell is ringing in the ring, then I be singing. I'm here to get that crowd loud. I'm wondering if you can bring it. When the round bell is ringing in the ring, then I be singing. But I'm here to get that crowd loud. But I'm wondering if you can bring it. When the round bell is ringing in the ring, then I be singing. I'm here to get that crowd loud. But I'm wondering if you can bring it. When the round bell is ringing in the ring, then I be singing. But I'm here to get that crowd loud. But I'm wondering if you can bring it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As always, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central in the great state of Texas, home base of IHWE Professional Wrestling, and 6 p.m. here on the sunny west coast of California, the home of IHWE Professional Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Michael McCurdy, the creator and author of Encyclopedia WCCW, and joining me as always is my co-host from right here in the Redwood Curtain over there at Camp Sousa. He is, we announced last night, a six-time grandpa, but I think he has another announcement for us tonight. Joe, how you doing tonight?
I am doing well. It's been quite a whirlwind the past week, but you mentioned it. I have went from 6 to 7. My daughter Patty let me know a few hours ago that she is packing twins as we speak. So I'm not going to go into, or you, Mike, the 6 times, 7 times, 7 time, what have you. 7-time grandpappy. I've got 7 grandkids. Number 6 and 7, somewhere within the next 6, 7, or 8 months, something like that. But that's really cool. And yesterday we had the ALS challenge. We answered the challenge of Stewart Camp. Lots of good stuff going on. This past weekend, we were at the Humboldt County Fair, worked a lucha show. I ring announced, and Mike, you made your debut as a referee. It was on the fly, unexpected, but big time props. Job well done.
Oh, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, you did hear that correct. If you have never seen a picture of me, and most of you haven't, I'm a 6'3", 320-pound fat boy. I will admit it right now, I'm a big boy. And I stepped into the ring at the last second as a debut for a professional wrestling referee. I hope I did a good job. The guys didn't yell at me too much, and I think I made most of the 3 counts. But a man my size should not be running around trying to do a 3 count. I was sore. I was tired. I had a great time. It was fun. Definitely something I don't know if I'd ever do it again.
Oh, you did good. I think you'd do it again if the opportunity came.
Well, when Morgan Dollar, the Koloff Alley Club, tells me I've done good for my first job, I kind of take that as a compliment. But, we'll talk some more about that later. Let's get a little business on hand. We have a busy show here tonight. Joining us tonight at the 8:30 is going to be the legendary Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. Joining us in our second hour is the debut of our Indie Wrestling Spotlight, where we will be spending a few minutes talking to Miss Dyslexia. Talented young lady wrestler, works out of Texas, many other states. We're going to talk with her. But right now, we're being joined by a man who started IHWE, IHW Radio, and everything else with IHW attached to it, David Fuller. David, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I want to thank you for allowing me to come on here tonight and rap a little bit. Congratulations to Joe and your family. Everybody can attest to this on this show right now, on this panel. There is no greater feeling in this world during our life than seeing the birth of a child, whether it be our child, our child's child. It's the greatest moment in time. Congratulations go to you and your family.
Thank you, sir. Deeply appreciated. Thank you so much.
No problem. Michael, you got the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, on tonight at 8:30. He's a former Worldwide Wrestling Federation champion. He's one of the most terrifying heels of all time. He defeated Bruno Sammartino. The building was a riot. It was a scene. Vince McMahon Sr. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be big tonight. Don't you dare Miss Dyslexia. She's returning to IHWE this coming Saturday. And then we got Roxy from the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. She's going to come on here and let everybody know that she is coming down to the hours, ladies and gentlemen, on the After Glow Party, the Kickstarter. So, anyway, but tonight this is a big week for IHWE. Tonight at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, if you are a fan of independent wrestling, if you are a fan of Evolve, Dragon Gate, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, if you're a fan of that kind of wrestling, if you like East Coast, West Coast, then you're going to want to tune in tonight at 10 p.m. because Johnny Gargano, the former Dragon Gate USA champion, he's in Los Angeles. He's on his way there for the Battle of Los Angeles, one of the biggest independent shows of the year, 3 days this year. He's also there with Kyle O'Reilly, who subsequently is going to be at the IHWE in September for Old School Hustle. We'll get into that here in a few minutes. Tonight at 10 p.m., Johnny Gargano against Thomas Shire, the winner of the Terry Gordy Memorial Battle Royal. He was trained by Dory Funk Jr. at the Funkin' Conservatory. Woo! Big business. That airs tonight. People have been asking for it since June 8th. When it happened, people have been asking, when is this going to air? It airs tonight at 10 o'clock. It doesn't cost you a single dime, nothing. And also tonight, 2 Hall of Famers, a future Hall of Famer in Tim Storm against current Southern Wrestling Hall of Famer, Spoiler 2000, tonight. Jim Cornette, Lynn Denton, all going to be on IHWE TV. It's an extended edition. I think you get an additional 10 or 15 minutes tonight. And I have got some news on the Franco D'Angelo Mike Fox situation that kind of been forwarded last week on IHWE TV. So tonight, IHWEnow.com, YouTube.com/IHWE2009, the Facebook, the Twitter, all over social media. All you got to do is wait for it at 10 o'clock. And if you have anything IHWE on social media, you will see it and you can watch it. So it's going to be big. This Saturday night, we have Showdown. Saturday Night Showdown returns. Fort Worth, Texas. It's a big night. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. The main event is for the DFW Championship. Michael, you want to sit there and talk about running around the ring and trying to keep up with these guys? Well, you would be in the cardiac unit of any hospital if you had to take my job on Saturday when I had to step into the ring with Gregory James, Ashley Jacobs, and Americos as they battle for the DFW Championship in a triple threat, best 2 out of 3 falls this Saturday night, and yours truly will be the special guest referee. So you think you had your work cut out for you. Yeah.
I have the utmost respect for the guys that wear the striped shirt inside that ring now, and I do not envy you in the least. I only had to rest 3 matches in a Battle Royal. Battle Royal, I just stood around on the outside and made sure the guys leave. After the first match, you can ask Joe, I was blown up. I was already puffing, and yeah, I don't envy you. I've seen those guys. I saw the first match they had, amazing match. I'm sure this one's going to be even better because you doubled the stakes on it, 2 out of 3 falls. So, you know, if you can live to tell about it, I'll be sure to talk to you about it on Sunday. We'll find out what happened.
Well, anybody can gain a fall anytime. Anybody can catch a submission. Anybody can catch a 1-2-3. But I think the ultimate test of endurance, ability, determination, and everything is you have to catch 2 falls in a match with 3 competitors. And it is not easy at all. Also this Saturday night, main event Mike Fox takes on Seshai, battle former tag team partners. Miss Dyslexia, who will be on this show in the second hour, is going to take on Peyton Gates. Lee Fang is going to return. The Chinese Warrior spent some time at WWE Florida Championship Wrestling in the developmental system. He's going to return IWE with Nigel Rabbit at his side, take on the Bird of Prey, making his debut, Native American superstar Kyle Hawk. That match will be an IHWEnow.com exclusive, which you can only see on IHWEnow.com this fall. Thomas Shire has an open contract. His opponent, his original opponent, did not make the show due to a whatever. Will not be there. Card subject to change. But Thomas Shire has laid out an open challenge. Anybody current or anybody retired, and I have been bombarded. With people, including people like R.D. Evans out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Ring of Honor. I have been bombarded by people who want to accept this challenge. I have made a decision on who will take Thomas Shire on this Saturday night. I will not announce it until the match happens this Saturday. Thomas Shire isn't even going to know who his opponent is until he is standing across the ring from him. Again, I like testing people. So Thomas Shire, he was already tested a few weeks ago in the Terry Gordy Battle Royal, and then tonight he's going to be tested again. So he's going to continue to be tested, and that's just the way it goes. So big lineup, Brian Ryder, founding father of IHWE. He helped found the company back with me back in 1990. He's hanging it up this Saturday night. But before he hangs it up, he's going to go in there and dance. It's Bigelow James Johnson, protege of mine. It's going to be good. Charlie Haas is going to be there. Black Bart's going to be there. It's going to be hosted by Flossie Carmichael. He's been on TNT Dallas. He's a model. Fort Worth Pride, Tampa City Pinup. Joel King will be the master of ceremonies. Rick Manning, Southern Wrestling Hall of Famer, is going to be a rep. It's going to be a good time. It's only $10 for adults and $5 for kids under 12. It's at 6901 McCart Avenue in Fort Worth, Texas. We're going to have interactive IHWE experiences for the first time. You're going to be able to take a picture in front of our promo backdrop. You're going to have a chance to win a raffle. That'll make sure you're sitting at a table during the main event holding the DMs. There's going to be so much to do. It's going to be awesome. So we hope to have a big crowd. It will be a taping for IHWE television. Those shows will begin to roll out probably in the middle of September. And then, of course, the big one's going to be Old School Hustle starting next week. Every week, an IHWE superstar will be on here to talk Old School Hustle. And next week, Charlie Haas will be on this show. So that should be interesting. And you know what's also interesting is nobody knows who Charlie Haas is wrestling at Old School Hustle. There's a lot of unanswered questions. Well, I'm going to announce his opponent for Old School Hustle at Showdown this Saturday night. So you'll have some news with Charlie. You'll be able to talk about who he's wrestling this next Wednesday on IHWE Radio. So, but anyway.
Well, and let's not forget, David. Oh, sorry. Finish what you're going to say.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, don't forget to let the fans know that this Saturday, you were challenged by the director of our website, Joe Kent, to do the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, which you will be doing live at Showdown. Joe and I did ours yesterday. It's your turn.
I have been challenged by a plethora of individuals, and I made the decision. I was approached by not only Joe, but I was approached by the venue, and they want me to do it on Saturday because some of the members of the Action Martial Arts in the Panther City Church will also be doing it with me. So I will be doing it this coming Saturday night. So those of you challenge me, I'm not bailing out. I'm just doing it this coming Saturday at Showdown. Hopefully awareness will be raised for ALS. They have already received some $60-something million since the Ice Bucket Challenges began, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's awesome. So now, also, is Brian on yet? Brian, come on yet? Brian. Okay.
Yes,
Brian's
I'm here.
All right, Brian. I know you've been talking about this, so I'll go ahead and give my thoughts because it's an interesting situation. Matt Riviera has a shot at being the NWA heavyweight champion of the world. A week before Old School Hustle, that show is going to be in Sherman, Texas, at NWA Texoma Wrestling. Me and Matt aren't really communicating right now. We've had an issue, and it's just been kind of escalating with every time we chat. but Matt and I are going to settle it at Old School Hustle one way or another. Matt loves to do stuff in front of the camera, but we'll talk about that later. This is about Matt Riviera. Hey, I'm not going to take anything away from the guy. He's IHWE champion, and he is one of the top competitors in the country. He's a great athlete. He's a technician inside that ring. He's a veteran. He knows what to do in that ring. I just think he takes too many shortcuts. But when he steps into the ring with the Iron Man, with Rob Conway, who has wrestled the best. He's wrestled the best in Japan. He's wrestled the best all over the country. He defeated Kojima for the NWA World Heavyweight title in Las Vegas during the big Vendetta Pro Wrestling in conjunction with the CAC and stopped an entire universe because nobody expected that to happen, and he pulled it out. What I'm interested to see is where Bruce Stark, where his allegiance lies, because I know he's been hanging out with Matt Riviera a lot, but his golden boy is Rob Conway as well, and he should be. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to have a lot of eyes, and I'm going to have a lot of interest in that match because potentially Matt Riviera could be the first superstar ever to be called both the IHWE Heavyweight Champion and the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So, and it could be a very interesting Old School Hustle if that's the case. But I think it's going to be a great match. I think if you're anytime the NWA World Heavyweight Championship is on the line, it's a big deal. I saw Dan to be Severn defend the NWA World Heavyweight title two times. I saw him defend it against Rugged Rod Price, and I saw him defend it against IHWE Hall of Famer Rodney Red Dog. He was Rodney Mack in WWE, Rodney Red Dog Beno. And I also saw Dan Severn challenge Naoya Ogawa for the title in the rematch here in Alderson Hills a few years ago. So I have seen 3 NWA Heavyweight Championship matches live. So anytime the NWA World Heavyweight title is on the line, it's a big deal. And the fans of Sherman, Texas, you're in for a real treat. So I hope that show does very well. And, I have a problem with Matt, but Matt's my champion, so obviously I'm pulling for him for more than one reason.
Yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting match for sure.
It's going to be big. So, but anyway, I know you guys have a lot to cover. I'm going to jump off here. 10 o'clock tonight, Central Standard Time. Johnny Gargano, Thomas Shire. It's going to be awesome. Michael, did you have anything else for me?
Real quick, I'll just throw out there in case anybody hasn't, noticed earlier that yesterday, I believe, was your 33rd birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Had a wonderful night at the Hilton. Don't kill our show. I mean, we want people to listen and download. We have the great Ivan Koloff on, but I think Ivan Koloff could sing better than you. So if Ivan Koloff would like to sing happy birthday, I'll be glad to listen, as will the world. But But Michael, I'll tell you what. Here's what I want you to do after the show tonight. I want you to sing solo. Solo, nobody can hear it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the show, for supporting IHWE. Tonight, 10 o'clock, Gargano, Shire. Don't miss it wherever you are. Free. Don't have to pay anything. It's going to be spectacular. And be on the lookout for more news about Old School Hustle. We're taping Saturday night. Michael, Brian, Joe, Austin, when you get on, have a great show. Enjoy talking to Ivan Koloff. Enjoy Mr. Sexy, and enjoy Roxy. Thank you, and have a good show, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right. The always talkative and very informative David Fuller. I like to call him my boss because he makes me. So, anyways, we're being joined by Brian Westcott, our in-house history man there. Brian, what happened in the world of wrestling this week so many years ago?
We've got some interesting anniversaries. Back on August 25th, 30 years ago, Road Warriors defeated the Crusher and Barry Von Raschke to win the AWA World Tag Team Championship in Las Vegas. August the 26th, excuse me here, but we had, back in 1991, we had SummerSlam in Madison Square Garden. And I think all my predictions for that came true. It's one of the few times where all my predictions for all the matches, how the outcomes were going to go, actually all came true. And actually did get to see the event. So, of course, Legion of Doom, Road Warriors won the World Wrestling Federation World Tag Team Championship for the Nasty Boys. Bret Hart won the Intercontinental Championship from the late Kurt Hennig. It was a great, great match. And August 27th, now today's a real big day. We've got some big anniversaries. 43 years ago today, we had the big match at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum between John Tolos and Classy Freddie Blassie. Now, Jeff Walton and Scott Walton's book about the Los Angeles territory did a really great job in telling how the whole storyline was set up. But it was a big, big match, big main event. Also, 4 years ago today, we lost Luna Vachon, member of the Cauliflower Alley Club and member of the wrestling Vachon family. We miss her a lot. 20 years ago today, we lost Professor Boris Malenko, Larry Simon, father of Joe and Dean Malenko. And Malenko was a great wrestler, great heel, great trainer, trained a number of guys who became big names in the business. But today is also one of the biggest days in the history of ECW and the NWA. So here we go. Here's how the whole thing set up. So Shane Douglas tells a story that he listened to a radio program by Mike Tenay. Mike Tenay had the late Dennis Coraluzzo on his show, and Dennis Coraluzzo was basically bad-mouthing Shane Douglas, that Douglas was unreliable, that he was unprofessional, and it was basically hurting Douglas's bottom line. Also going on, Todd Gordon and Dennis Coraluzzo, they were having major problems, major heat. And needless to say, it all led to Todd Gordon, Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously, and Shane Douglas in a conspiracy to basically do a double cross, a swerve, basically hurt the NWA to its very core. At this time, the NWA was down only to a few members. So it really was basically just almost about ready to exist, just disappear off the planet. So they decided to host a tournament. The belts had been vacated for quite a while. So in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, ECW Arena, an 8-man tournament. And the tournament final, it led to Shane Douglas, Too Cold Scorpio, and really good match. You know, not a Ric Flair or Steamboat classic, but a good match nonetheless. Douglas wins the bell with a belly-to-belly suplex. Then he does this great speech. Now, prior to this, in October of 1993, Shane Douglas lost his father. Father passed away. And Douglas does kind of this dramatic pause, and he goes, do I do this or don't I? And he says, this is it, Dad. You know, for the first time, I'm going to be a man, and, you know, come hell or high water, I'm going to do this. So he listens to this great speech. He mentions all the champions of the past, to Buddy Rogers, Lou Thesz, Dory Funk Jr., Terry Funk, Jack Briscoe, Harley Race, the Fat Man himself, Dusty Rhodes, yes, Ric Flair, and yes, Barry Windham, Terry Von Erich, and yes, his former tag team partner, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Now, this is Shane Douglas' words, not mine, and they can all kiss my ass. And he throws the belt down, and then he grabs the ECW Championship belt, and he declares himself Extreme Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion of the world. And everybody's all stunned, shocked over this. Because do you really fool the smart fans who thought they knew everything? And Coraluzzo was still insistent to Douglas, you know, we want you to sign it on as our champion, and you have to, with a knife behind his back. So that two-facedness. Also, Todd Gordon announced, we have folded NWA East, Eastern Championship Wrestling, in its place, Extreme Championship Wrestling, and we recognize the franchise as our champion. Extreme Championship Wrestling, changing the face of wrestling. I mean, you really think about it, this really ended NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling. It created Extreme Championship Wrestling. Some of the players were already being set into place. And I can understand why they did it. Now, I was not a fan of the double cross. I was not happy about it at all. But I understand why they did it. And in some ways, it lit a fire under the NWA. It basically led to this revival that we are seeing right now, even under Bruce Stark and with Rob Conway as NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So at least the NWA still exists. But back then, it was a pretty dark time. The ECW, of course, a revolution, anti-establishment. Again, it brought great wrestling, brought some hardcore battles, blood, and everything else that goes with it. And, yeah, the original ECW only lasted until 2001, went bankrupt. Paul Heyman was going to work for WWE. They tried to revive it. It was not successful. But like I say, today, a very big day for NWA fans and ECW fans.
I remember when all that happened. I was a Shane Douglas fan. I remember when all that went down with the Extreme Championship Wrestling and all that. So, and that was at a time ECW, as they went on, they were hot during that time frame, and it all started right there. So, big piece of history happened on August 27th.
Talk about a turning point in the business. That had to have been a huge turning point.
Definitely, without a doubt.
It introduced a lot of other elements into wrestling, too, because before then you didn't have a lot of the hardcore matches, and with ECW, you then started seeing this stuff in WCW, WWF. They all started doing hardcore. So it was a turning point. It also basically started a new element in wrestling here in America. I mean, they've done hardcore stuff like in Japan and things, but over here, you know, ECW is kind of, basically, as they said, they're the godfather of hardcore. They started it.
Well, keep in mind with ECW, not only they were the first to bring, the Lucha Libre, Mysterio and Guerrero, but they also, as Joey Styles called it, brought professional wrestling back to the States. You know, case in point, Benoit and Malenko. I mean, what a match that was. Guerrero and Benoit, just all these beautiful pure wrestling matches. No gimmicks. A lot of people kind of thought, well, how would the bloodthirsty crowd of ECW react to this? They reacted accordingly. They loved it. They basically, ECW had a little bit for everybody. You had the hardcore knockdown, drag-out brawls. You had the Lucha Libre wrestling, and also you had pure wrestling. A little bit for everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was a great mix.
Joining us right now is the... Sorry. Let me step in here real quick. Joining us right now, the fourth member of IHWE radio team, Austin James. Austin, how you doing tonight?
Doing phenomenal. As always, it's good. It's just not good enough.
Austin always makes me feel good when we bring him on every day. I like to know.
I know, and even if
I'm,
even if I'm a tad bit, off the timer here, I'm supposed to be here around 8, right? But
yeah, you're a little late.
Yeah, just a little. But a bunch of different stuff happened in the week of wrestling. But more importantly, starting last weekend, Impact Wrestling officially moving to Wednesday nights. Not sure how much officially that word there is going to be reigning supreme, because there's talks of being there with another network called Velocity, which I've never heard of until just a few days ago. Which I think would be a terrible move. They would move to a network like Velocity, where many people probably don't even know about it.
I hadn't heard Velocity. I heard Ion, which is what Main Event was on for a while. I've never heard of Velocity either.
Well, it's actually a little partnership, I guess, with like a sister channel to Discovery, called Velocity. So, I mean, I never would see a professional wrestling show on a Discovery Network affiliate, I guess, or sister channel. I wouldn't see it happening. And being Wednesday nights, it feels weird to me. Like, I have it on right now, and it doesn't have that same. It feels odd watching Wednesday nights, because then SmackDown soon, in a couple of weeks, going to be moving to Thursday nights. So things are going to be crazy. There's no wrestling. It's going to be on a Friday. It's just sad. I don't like all this moving around.
Well, I don't like moving around either, because, now, TNA's going to try to compete with IHWE TV, 10 p.m. Central,
I know,
right after
exactly.
this episode of IHWE Radio. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen, professional.
let's hope this Wednesday Night War won't be as bloody and grueling as the Monday Night War.
Oh God, no. And speaking of the Monday Night War series, actually, just a few days ago on the WWE Network, they officially had the start of that series with the new episode of the Monday Night War series, WCW versus WWE. And I'm just saying this. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch it, but that is so well produced.
I saw the first episode this weekend, and episode 2, I believe, aired yesterday. The Rise of the NWO. So that's the second episode. But you're right, definitely a well-produced show, and I enjoyed it. And I believe it's a 20-episode series, so, you know, I think WWE Network is starting to kind of get the right idea. They're starting to do some of the shows about the history of the things, the stuff we want to see, because they also did that really cool documentary, The Road to SummerSlam, about the Shield, which actually went back into their indie careers and actually had some footage of Roman Reigns on the football field playing, I think it was college football. So they're starting now to give us what we want to see. We want to see the history. You know, we don't want to see, we want to see current.
Yeah.
You know, current is cool. Current is cool. Don't get me wrong, but you know, watching the history, it's always a great thing. And when the network was launched, it was hit and miss. With some of the reality shows like Legends, Divas, what have you. Okay, fine and dandy, but the primary reason to launch the network so they could showcase their hundreds of thousands of footage that they pretty much snatched up from all the other territories. And plus, with their slant on it, we're actually seeing, some decent history. And this is something, like you said, Mike, that we've been waiting to see for a long, long time.
Well, definitely. And if you haven't had a chance to check out Monday Night Wars, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think that WWE Network needs to start shooting for more original. And they definitely have been with all the Legends House, like he was saying before, the Legends House and Total Divas and the Monday Night War series, but I think they need to, and also Legends of WrestleMania, which is, I think, really intriguing, just, going back and kind of looking over everything that's happened in the particular match, which I'm thoroughly enjoy, WWE Countdown and all that type of stuff. But besides that, another show that's not on the network yet, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me why they wouldn't have Raw or SmackDown on it. They have the replays. They don't actually have it live on the network. I just think it would be so cool just to be in my car watching Raw on an HD screen. I think it's an idea that I like to imagine would happen soon. But I think with the contracts they have with USA and Sci-Fi, they aren't able to do it live. But on Monday Night Raw, this past Monday, the start of the show is showing actually Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, and Hulk Hogan giving their opinion on John Cena if he thinks that he would actually defeat Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions to regain his WWE title. And personally, after seeing what he did at SummerSlam, I have extremely high doubts that John Cena will regain anytime soon.
Well, Super Cena dons his cape and all that, anything's possible. But no, I don't see Cena regaining the title either. And I know they're talking about Batista returns at Night of Champions. God forbid we have to see Batista versus Brock Lesnar, but if we have to, we have to, I guess.
No, let me tell you this. I'll take a Guardian of the Galaxy any day of the week, but I think it's the only legitimate person that can beat Brock Lesnar. I mean, Brock Lesnar's never wrestled a Guardian of the Galaxy. Come on.
The hell is Batista? Drax the Destroyer versus Brock Lesnar. There we
go. with WWE, I have one complaint. Imagine that. And, man, hopefully you guys will agree with me, is the camera work. For some, the camera zooming in and out. That, my eyes are hurting after watching a few minutes of that, guys.
I didn't notice that too much, but I was chasing 3 kids around while the show was on, so I heard about the zooming in, zooming out thing. I didn't see too much of it, so I can't really form an opinion on that one.
I don't know. I think actually, I never really mind it. It just happens. If you're going to watch the show, then you have to watch the show. But I do see what you're saying, that the constant zooming in and out can get a little bit eye-catching from time to time.
All right, well, I hate to interrupt this scintillating conversation about the camera work on Monday Night Raw, but it is time for me to make a phone call here. and bring on our first guest of the evening. Let me get him on here real quick. Hopefully he answers. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello, Ivan.
Yes, sir.
Hi, this is Michael McCurdy at IHWE Radio.
Hey, how you doing, Michael?
Doing good. Hold on just 1 second here and let me give you the proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being joined by a man who can definitely be called a legend in professional wrestling. He was the Iron Mike Mazurki Award winner at the Koloff Alley Club, I believe back in 2012 or 2013. And also, he was part of what is considered one of the greatest moments in professional wrestling when he defeated Bruno Sammartino for the WWF World title. Our guest tonight on IHWE Radio is the legendary Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. Ivan, welcome to the show.
How you doing, comrade? How is everybody tonight?
Phenomenal.
I'm
Doing good, sir.
great, brother. I was looking forward to hearing your call here. Just running a few errands and on our way back home. Yes, the great Bruno Sammartino, the legend in wrestling, was my hero, of course, when I was a teenager. I heard he won the Worldwide Wrestling Federation belt. I said, oh, man, I want to be just like that guy. 290 pounds from Abruzzi, Italy. That was great. Yeah, he showed that he was worthy of having all these, having the belt. For sure, he ended up having it for 11 years, I think, altogether, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Hey,
now,
just go ahead and ask me any questions you have, brother.
I will start off with the question, one of the most obvious questions. This year, earlier at WrestleMania, when Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker and broke the streak, they compared that to the night you defeated Bruno for the title. Now, can you take us back to that night? What was it like in the arena that night for that match and when you won that title?
And first, throwing for me a little bit nervous, of course, but I already at that point wrestled just right on 10 years at that point, and I was pretty confident. I had built myself up to, I was bench press on 500 and squat 500, ended up, had been wrestling about 10 years, trip to Japan, and I proved myself in Canada then by winning the title in the Montreal area, and I felt pretty confident, but even then, whenever, especially the Big Apple, Madison Square Gardens, it was quite thrilling. And to wrestle against your hero and the champion, Bruno Sammartino. It was intimidating for me, of course, but and the crowd had sold out, and they were really going crazy for Bruno. And then whenever that 1, 2, 3 came and realized that, I think I was probably as surprised as anyone. I ended up get the 3 count on him, and the people just went quiet. I mean, silent. You could hear a pin drop, and because they couldn't believe that Bruno was defeated, and they wouldn't even raise my hand at first. And I went over to the referee and I said, "Raise my hand. Where's the belt?" He said, "Never mind the belt," because he could sense himself, the referee, that there was going to be a riot. He could tell that the people were very upset, to say the least. And he ended up telling me go back to, he raised my hand, but he said go back to the dressing room. And that's what I did. And I could see why after I got back there and they took pictures of me with the belt and stuck my head back out there because I wondered why people were reacting that way. But when I stuck my head out the door just to see what was going on, there was like people crying. They're starting to make a little noise, but it was more, I could hear, Bruno, you'll always be our champ. You'll get it back, and stuff like that. that they're really upset because Bruno ended up losing the belt. And it was scary because Captain Lou Abendo was my manager. When we went to leave Madison Square Garden, we went down in the basement, and where they had doors, they opened up, and cabs came in there to take people out. Of course, when we went down there, the cab that we had called came through the door, and a bunch of people came on too. We jumped at the cab right away, and the people started swarming the cab, and were trying to upset the cab. They were trying to lift it over, and if they would have had much more of a chance, they would have done it also. But Captain hollered at the driver of our cab that, step on it, you're going to have your car wrecked. And he did. The driver took off and knocked a few people, pushed them out of the road, but he didn't hurt nobody. But, man, the people were really upset to the point that Captain said the next day he was at his friend's place, a store town, and some fans had spotted Captain and ended up saying something to him, and the store manager stuck up for Captain by saying something to the extent that, you can't take it away that much, you're going to beat him. And the guy was so hot, he ended up, the captain said he ended up punching the manager friend of Captain Lou Abando, and I guess broke his nose or something. But it was scary. Seriously, really, people were really, you couldn't figure out what they were going to do that night. It was just unbelievable for the silence, but yet the intensity in the air, But, that was quite thrilling for me because I never thought that when I was a kid that wanted to be a wrestler. The first time I seen it at 8 years old, and I said from that day on, I seen it on television, I wanted to be one of these guys and be a champion. And I'd go around telling my family that, and there's 10 siblings in my family. So 7 boys and 3 girls. It was like the idea of, having to prove to them that I was capable of being a wrestler. And I was a middle child, so I had to prove myself many times. It was great that night. It was all worth it. That was pretty well topic to my career right there. Then just to go on from there and just win other titles and travel the world was fantastic, to say the least.
No, actually,
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. I was going to say, after all that happened, after the Madison Square Garden win against Bruno Sammartino, was it the same song and dance for the fans, hating you, so much? So were you fearing for your life being the champion?
Yes, it was very, very. At this point, I was in a few riots before that, especially one in the Montreal area up in Quebec when Ernie the Cat Ladd, the big football player, and I were tagged up against the town favorites or the country's favorite, the Rougeau brothers, and we ended up being disqualified one fall, winning one fall, and it looked like in the third fall we're going to kill them. The people filled the ring up with cheers. So I was quite used to, watching the people as they could attack you. Many times I had to fight my way to the ring, and especially back to the dressing room, because usually after the match are really upset with me and wanted to get revenge. But all in all, I think that the tension there for myself was a real good test to build up to when Madison Square Gardens came. I was quite ready for it in the sense of experiencing all the other stuff that I had went through to that point.
Ivan, this is Joe Souza. First, I wanted to wish you well. And in 1976, I had the honor to see you wrestle in the San Francisco Cow Palace. You teamed up with Alexis Smirnoff against Peter Maivia and Lonnie Main. And my question is, what was Roy Shires like, the promoter?
Oh, he was that was the first time I had met him. I heard a lot about him from Ray Stevens, and because Ray was out there wrestling and was the champion out there at one time. I think it was him and Pat Patterson, if I'm not mistaken. And they had talked very highly of him, but he was a businessman, and he sort of struck me as something like Vince McMahon Sr. in a sense, that he was all business, but he had been, some experience in wrestling himself, so for many years, and it was a nice man. He treated me real well. We were just in and out at that time, going in for matches from the Georgia area and also for the Crockett's, because they had bought a couple of jets, and they're flying us around from Canada all the way through the States and different areas to wrestle, and that was quite an experience. That was great. Just get a chance to go out there and have wrestled in San Francisco.
Good deal.
Happy 72nd birthday, Uncle Ivan.
Oh, thank you so much, yeah. Finally legal now, yeah. 39 for the 23rd time. And I'm like cheese and wine get that time.
Yes, indeed.
It was great getting to meet you at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion in 2013. It was great to see you honored. But you already answered the question about that night in January of 1971 when you were so quiet you could hear a pin drop. I mean, you're absolutely right. Any time the fans were quiet like that, it was riot, and you did not want that. Could you talk about your time in the Mid-Atlantic territory? I know you've had some great memories, and you had a great time there.
Well, I ended up, of course, being tag team with different guys. Spearnoff was mentioned, Buzz Sawyer, Ole Anderson. So I was there several times, I think, wrestling in that area, and I'd stay in a place up to a year. And I got to wrestle a lot of greats, from Mr. Wrestling number 2 to Thunderbolt Patterson. Let me see now, Paul Orndorff, Kevin Sullivan. Oh, man, there's so many guys we ended up being against. Dusty Rhodes, of course, and many, many, many others with great wrestlers. And I really enjoyed it in the sense that it was some shorter trips in some of the areas like the Crockett area in the Carolinas, that they had longer trips, but we had more than our share, because after a while, even that one time, they'd wrestle 1 week down in the Georgia area, the next week they'd be up in Ohio. So that made it a little bit rougher there, but I really enjoyed it. I think that really helped my career as far as getting known worldwide, because, of course, I was a satellite station, and TV was going all over pretty well. And it sort of made me more international, I suppose. And for a while there, it's sending me all over. I was flying I'd go into Florida to wrestle, to Indianapolis, to St. Louis, to Houston, back to the Charlotte area, which was great. And another tour up to New York. And so the years go by too fast, whenever you're out there wrestling, and it just seemed, looking back at it now, that could have done a lot of things different if I had to do it over again now, type thing, as far as hurt my body, because it's very trying on the body, especially when you get injuries and you don't take time to rest like you should and heal up. But all in all, I wouldn't change it for the world. I think the Georgia area.
Now, when I started watching you, I mean, I'm not old like my co-host Joe there, so he might remember a little bit of the 70s. I saw you when you came in. It was in the 80s. You and your nephew Nikita Koloff. What was the I mean, that was NWA, that was WTBS, which at that point in time was one of the major super stations, so there was like a lot of TV exposure. But what was that whole time frame like?
I think I was there a couple different times over the years, and I think it was really good for me, especially the time I went there in the 80s, because I started realizing the wrestling was changing a bit, and more emphasis on television for the product, and especially pay-per-views were being thought about at that time. And it was I knew I had to move more in the ring, like to be in great shape. And that's why I dropped my weight from the 300 mark down to more like 230, 240, and was able to impress some of the guys to the extent that they gave me the tag that they called me the machine, the Russian machine, because I was hard to stop, I guess, in the ring. I just wouldn't blow up, you know, and, which is quite a compliment because a lot of those guys were in great shape.
And right now, actually, you're in the works with Michael Elliott of Elbow Productions, who has created a number of phenomenal documentaries. And he's actually planning on doing one of you. He's working with you in the Ivan Koloff documentary. How excited are you about this to kind of get it off its feet and start it up and to really tell your story?
Yeah, you know, it's I really appreciate that too, because I appreciate the fans being part of it, just to try to organize it and get it together. I know it's got to be quite an undertaking for Michael Elliott and his company, but I think it's something that people really enjoy. I told a story in my book, you know, Is That Wrestling Fake? The Bare Facts by Ivan Koloff, which you can get on my site and everything like that, but or through my author's email address, crowbarpress.com. But, you know, just to go back real quick and give you an overview of my life, career. I was raised, you know, 10 kids in the family, and very humbling background, to where we just had a lot of hard work. A lot of people realize back in you talk about the 40s, 50s type thing into the 60s, things were not the technologies they have today, and consequently I grew up without the television and all the good stuff that they have today. I believe I just really that basic background that I had, not afraid to do hard work, really helped me in my career, because when I had decided 8 years old to become a wrestler, I kept that dream. And as a teenager, of course, I went about it a little wrong, because I ended up getting thinking that I had to go and beat up people to get a name in the wrestling. And so I'd end up going into places with my brothers and that, and get into a fight, and hopefully it'd hit the papers and I'd become famous. But it wasn't long after I got my jaw jacked a few times that was the wrong way to go about it. So I ended up going to a wrestling school, and especially after a while, I even ended up getting into some trouble with the law because of my crazy thinking and, I guess, intensity of becoming a wrestler. I ended up making some bad decisions there, but ended up, after that was all over with, at the young age of 19, ended up going to the wrestling school, and 2 years later graduated, and ended up starting to wrestle around the Toronto area. Of course, at that time, I wrestled under a different name, and the simple reason for that, I was told by the old-timers, it was very important to protect your name, because if you get beat up a lot and you get the bad reputation off the bat, it's harder later on to end up having any credibility with the promoters and that. So I ended up trying to keep it so that I didn't tarnish the name. Ended up wrestling under the name of an Irishman, Red McNulty, the Irish Road, something like Sheamus today, I guess, would be. And I did real good at that. I really felt comfortable, but at first I didn't feel too comfortable because I was very nervous, and as a child I think I was a very introvert, shy kid, so I ended up, I think at first, being hurt by the people, you know, because I was supposedly a mean guy, bad guy, and I ended up, they'd holler and yell at me. It didn't take long, though. After a few years of being told off, I ended up getting the courage to, you know, turn around and tell them, oh, shut up and stuff like that, you know. But, yeah, I sort of worked my way into it and felt real good about it. But, man, there's so many things that happen. It's really a person can't even put it in a book, you know. You pretty well have to sit down and really appreciate, you know. I think a documentary would show it even more so, especially with the highlights of the different wrestling over the years. I know there's a lot of film out there and such that would, I think, actually play along with the storyline to show what the wrestling, because it did change over the years to some degree, and I think that it would emphasize it more so as in a documentary type of thing. So I'm really glad to put this together. And at that point, as a young wrestler, I even got the chance to wrestle my hero as Red McNulty in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at the TV. And Big Bill Cardell, I think, was one of the announcers. Anyway, man, that was quite a joy, because I ended up being a joke was played on me. They told me when Bruno goes down in the corner to say a prayer, which I found out later that he said a prayer because the guy was hurt when he was learning to wrestle and sparring with this guy. He ended up hurt the guy, and so he always said a prayer before. Well, they kidded me and they told me to attack the guy when he went to say the prayer, so I did, because I wanted to become famous, so I listened to the old timers. They were just playing with me, though. And I ended up attacking Bruno, and I'll never forget his face. He looked up at me like I was crazy. And I said, what's this crazy kid doing? And but it didn't take him too long to get to his feet and throw me around like a rag doll for a while, and then pinned me. Well, not pinned me right away. What he did is, of all things, he put a bear hug on this Red McNulty, and ended up getting the victory that way. But man, it was a thrill for me to have wrestled Bruno back then. Only for 8 years later to come back and get a chance to wrestle him again, and as you know, under my own name, I've been Koloff, you know, and I made a career out of over these years, and I was really happy about that. And that the way that all came about was in Montreal in '67. I ended up getting a trip, first of all, to Japan out of the Vancouver, British Columbia area. I was wrestling out there, Washington, Portland, Vancouver, and all that area out there. And I went to Japan because Donnelly O'Jonathan, Dutch Savage, those guys had connections over there, I guess. They had been over there before. They liked me, I guess, and they did me a favor of getting me booked over there. And I ended up meeting Jacques Rougeau, one of the promoters' brothers from Montreal. And he said, man, you're big, you're 300 pounds, and you look a real, you're a big Russian, you look something like Lenin. Why don't you shave your head and come into Montreal as a Russian? And I said, that's ideal, because it's a Russian name, right? So I ended up going there and ended up starting to wrestle there. And, man, it was such a thrill, because I got to not only wrestle against some of the stars that I had seen on television, like Edward Caponci, Matt Dog Vachon, and the Rougeaus, and oh man, it was fantastic. Lorenzo the Cat Lad was one of my first tag team partners. Hans Schmidt, some of the old names in the business, and had some riots there. And it was quite an introduction for me and quite an experience, but man, I wouldn't change it for the world, because just to get the wrestle of those guys and everything, I was just like a big mark, you know, fan. And I really believe that to this day, that that's what really makes good athletes, whether it's football or what. If you really love the sport that you're in and you apply yourself, it's going to happen for you, because you love it so much that you're going to put up with all the travel, all the aches and pains. But yeah, they used to have me come from the dressing room out in Montreal for the first night and run around and around the ring outside, and then jump in the ring when they ring the bell and announce me, attack my opponent, beat him up for 5 minutes or so, and then pick him up inverted backbreaker or bear hug and defeat him, and then jump out of the ring, round and round the ring again 4 or 5 times. You can believe that after 6 months or something doing that every night, I was starting to get in shape. Because when I first got there, I was like maybe a little bit heavy for a guy, you know, that's 300 pounds and only like 6 foot tall. It was really an experience for me, but a real good one. I mean, as far as learning and such. And I ended up being successful at that, and ended up being noticed after 2.5 years. I won the title, Canadian title, won some tag team matches, and was tag team champion for a while. So I won both the belts there, lost them, won them again, and it was the type of thing that, it was pretty well time to move on, and it worked out perfect. Captain Lou Albano, and I want to drain the bottom for a hole in, and Captain Lou Albano came into the Montreal area, him and his partner, Tony Altamore, the Sicilians, and they ended up being involved in the tag team tournament, and the captain said, man, look, you'd be great against Bruno Sammartino, champion in New York. So I said, yes, sir. I was all for it. And he hooked us up with Vince McMahon Sr., and about a year later, in 1969, I went in there and wrestled Bruno all around the territory 3 or 4 times and won some matches, but never actually got the title. And I left and went to Australia. Got a trip to Australia for 10 weeks and went over there and wrestled, and ended up getting a call to come back to the New York area and wrestle. Man, what a thrill that was to come back and win the title. That's when I won the title. From there, I went on to go to the AWA in the Minnesota area, on to areas like the Crockett's area down here in Mid-Atlantic, and just had 12 tours to Japan. Man, it's just great to be able to travel the world, Greece, and over there in Kuwait, the Middle East. So the little farm boy did all right. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I was going to say, what's so great about you in your career that you've done so much over the time frame you've been wrestling, that you've done a lot of stuff, and you've done everything you could, and really made the name Ivan Koloff stand out in history forever. But I think one thing, and you know where I'm going with this because people have talked to you about this numerous times, one thing that you haven't got to do yet, but I know it's going to be happening soon, WWE Hall of Fame. And I sent you a tweet the other day about the WWE put up a profile of you on their website after a long while. They should have done it sooner. But they put up an official profile of Ivan Koloff on their website, and I'm just saying, I think it's signs to things to come.
Yeah, that's really encouraging, and I appreciate sending the tweet to us because my wife called me over. She runs the computer. She's the brains of the operation, and she ended up showing it to me, and I said, man, well, that sounds like it might be helpful for sure, that at least you're showing some interest, and I was so glad of that, to see that. But I guess it's bound to happen sometime. I was hoping anyway, because that'd really be a great treat to be around some of the wrestlers, and most of them I know, and if I don't know them, I know their fathers, and a couple generations there. Matter of fact, I started wrestling with The Rock's dad, which is Rocky Johnson, and he was with me in the West Coast there when I was up there in Vancouver area, Canada, and man, a lot of these boys, it's just good to see them again, but that's really the icing on the cake, whenever you can end up being asked to be part of, Hall of Fame for any company that you're with, I, for many, many years, of course, the WWE is looked at worldwide, as it was even back then with the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, looked at as the elite, the Big Apple, New York, and Madison Square Garden, and it had the prestige of being the hub of professional wrestling to end up making the name there. And the McMahons were very nice to me. They end up using me to be part of the company there, and now to show a little interest in me being inducted to the Hall of Fame, that would really make me happy.
Ivan, I was curious. You mentioned Portland, and that's very dear to my heart. Huge fan of the Portland territory, Don Owen. And I know you wrestled up there for a while. And when you were wrestling for Crockett, there was a couple of occasions where some of the wrestlers from the Crockett promotion will go up to Portland to have these extravaganzas at the sports arena and the Memorial Coliseum. One match that I remember so well is a match where you and Junkyard Dog took on Playboy Buddy Rose and the Grappler in the Portland Sports Arena. Now, how was Don Owens to work for? What kind of a guy? What was he like?
To me, he was a really nice man. Just I was. But again, he was business. I mean, he expected you to be professional and to wall out, put some people in, fill the seats. In other words, like your job called for. But I always got along real good with the promoters. It seemed like that no matter where I went, that they're very nice to me. Some real sweethearts like Paul Bosch in Houston, Texas, and but no matter where I went, it just seemed like they all went out to make you welcome and to give you a chance to be able to let your talent shine, type of thing. And that's the way I looked at it. So no, I thought he was a very, very nice guy. And I got, of course, my friends. A lot of my friends live out there. They're in. You got guys like Tony Bourne is in there. He was wrestling at the time in the Vancouver area. He's from Portland. Matt Bourne's dad, and then of course Roddy Piper lives out there now. And man, that was a big experience to me. I even got to wrestle, of course, in not only Tacoma, Seattle, Portland, but man, I'll never forget this because I remember taking the trip one time with out in the Seattle area, Washington area, to the east. In Seattle, there's a lot of Indian Indian reservations, And I remember one day we wrestled right up there at the reservation, and I was outside, and we even took a bath type of thing inside of a tent, and it was great. It was really great that what an experience, to be out there wrestling the Indians. Of course, we're going crazy. And on that particular trip that I took, big old Haystack Calhoun needed a ride. So from Blaine, Washington, all the way down to this reservation, I ended up, I remember I had an older car, but it was in good shape. It was just the idea that he was such a big guy, The back seat, he was all him in there by himself. I was told to give him a ride to the show. So I ended up doing it. That was about the only time I ever gave him a ride because he had popcorn and chips and everything in the back seat. I had to have a big vacuum cleaner to clear it up when the time was done. But it was a joy just to have a big name like that in my car, I was thinking back then. But, yeah, that whole area was great. And Don Owens and all the promoters in that area, I was starting off, of course, I wrestled there 2.5 years before the trip to Japan. So I got to do many shots for all the promoters in the area, even as far over as Winnipeg they had me go. And matter of fact, as I was leaving Vancouver and had it arranged to go into Montreal, whenever I came back from Japan, I had to kill about a month. I called Stu Hart up in Calgary, Alberta, and I went and wrestled there for a month or so, maybe a little over a month, and even brought one of my old friends with me. God bless him, he's passed there now, but Buddy Roberts, one of the Freebirds. He had started off with me back then, and we went over to Calgary, and then he came with me to Montreal, and ended up, so I reflect back on stuff like you're mentioning the match against different guys like that. I must say I don't remember exactly who I was wrestling all the time, but just for you to bring that up, I can recall being in a match with those guys. Because a lot of them were impressive. They end up leaving their mark on you, because they're great wrestlers. And I remember all the territories and that. And what a great time.
Fantastic story. Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, at the beginning of the show... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay. At the beginning of the show, my first question, I had referenced earlier this year, the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania was broken. They compare that to your title match in 1971 where you won the title. How does it feel to be a part of something that over 4 decades later, people are still referencing it? I mean, 1971 all the way to 2014 is when the difference is.
Yeah.
And they compare it to the night you defeated Bruno. How does that feel to be a part of such a major moment that people still reference it to this day?
Oh, and that's only, to me, because of the different things that was involved in that from the greatest promotion at that time, the Apple, Madison Square Gardens, you know, the importance of all of this, and then on top of it, Bruno was such a legend, is such a legend, you know, in wrestling, for to have won the title from somebody that was known like, you know, like John Cena of today, you know, just have 16 times, or Ric Flair or something like that. It's now, I know what you're saying, Brock Lesnar to come in and so annihilate him the way he did. But I must say, he's got a fight on his hands, because that John Cena, I could tell the guy, he's not one to give up. He's very dedicated, at his dad and everything. He's very great athlete and determined, and man, he's got a lot of qualifications as of why he's, 16 times, 13 times, whatever it is, champion. No. And Brock Lesnar, better look out on the revenge part there, because I think he's going to make sure that he gets back at him there. But yeah, I think to compare it, I see the significance of, you know, to the people, the idea of John Cena, because he's been champion so long there, you know, I lost it, gained it back, type thing. And to, you know, odds against him type of, to have somebody come in like Brock Lesnar and big, strong guy, mean, to end up taking the belt from him so devastating, like that's something like what happened here. Bruno was so loved, and nobody could end up taking that title off him. To all of a sudden, after 7.5 years, somebody to come in and so decisive, not the idea of put my foot on the rope or something like that, or hit them with some type of object or something, but just coming off the top rope and 300 pounds landing on you and knocking the wind out of him. I really believe that Bruno was somewhat, he had to be injured at the time, hurt, because you don't be champion 7.5 years with the schedule that he was in on hard boxing rings, to take that abuse to the body and not end up having some injuries. So I could see why he probably appreciated the fact of having time off to heal up. I know he did like the idea of losing, but sometimes you need that just to be able to go on for a better day. You know what I mean?
Hey, I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you actually keep up with the current WWE stuff that's on TV, but do you actually have any? Have you been watching? And if you have been, are there any people that impressed you, that have impressed you?
Oh yeah, man. I don't think there's anybody I haven't really been impressed with. Just some more than others. These guys today, you know, to say, oh, this wrestling, like you know, in my book I compared it to Evel Knievel. You know, I mean, because today wrestling, they say, well, it's all this and that, but you know, when you stop and think of it, Evel Knievel knew what he was going to do ahead of time. He practiced what he did ahead of time, but he focused on every bone in his body. And believe it or not, these guys today are getting hurt. They hurt as much as this time, even when the wrestling was, you know, we're trying to knock each other's head off back 40, 50 years ago. It was the type of thing that today they're getting some injuries. You can't take those kind of falls, that kind of abuse of the body, over the top rope, onto tables. Because I've done it, I tried it, and man, the body has got to give it sometime or another. I'm walking around now with a back that's been really hurt real bad. Both shoulders broke. The right knee needs replaced. Left ankle's been broke 4 times, and you know, whenever you end up taking crazy, and these guys today is just incredible. Some of the stuff, you know, and the agile. You see guys. I mean, I can't say one name without saying a lot of them because they're so agile. They jump to the top rope, turn on the rope, and come off with a somersault or a double somersault and land on the guy. I mean, timing and everything. It's so crucial. They could fall, land on their head, and break their neck, because guys before broke their neck. Bruno has his neck broke just from a simple slam. But Stan Hansen ended up going to slam him, and he slipped right through his arms. His arms are, of course, sweaty and everything, and landed right on his head, broke his neck. So these guys today, I really admire them. Sheamus, I mean, all of the guys. John Cena, the guys handed down the generations here. Orton and all these guys, man, they're all great. Of course, a good friend, Big Show, man, I seen him a couple of years ago. Happened to go up the back of the arena and seen his big old bus there, and I didn't really know what the score was, even though I've been watching a little bit on television, the show to keep in tune with who was out there. But he came out of the bus and he came towards me and he recognized me, of course, because I met him before. And he said, "I will Koloff." And he came up to me, and of course, big hug and everything. And ended up, I said, "Hey, Big Show, what is this bus for all the boys? Everybody rides down here together, or what?" He said, "No, that's my bus." He said, "It's only big enough for me." And I mean, it was huge bus. So it was the idea that, man, from Big Show right through them all, the incredible athletes, really good. The Uso brothers, right? Oh, man. Yes. And,
they're amazing.
Yeah, just, and Blackjack Mulligan's grandsons there. Something else.
Oh, my
man,
God.
they're really great athletes.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt and especially Bray Wyatt, who is one of the most unique characters in professional wrestling. Yeah. I'm saying history. I'm not just saying him just right now, but I'm saying in history. He definitely left his mark. Making his debut last year, and I'm so just I love watching him. But one person that you remind me of, I mean, it's kind of like a modern day Ivan Koloff, is Antonio Cesaro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so, because he's coming out now. Well, with all the tension, with Russia and the world scene today, so much fighting going on all over, I guess it was bound to different nationalities to be out there, and that's great, I think. You're talking about the big Russian guy, right?
Yeah, well, there's Alexander Rusev, he's from Russia. He's from Bulgaria, but they're calling him the what are they saying? That they're balling him from Russia.
Yeah, well, this used to be, I guess, pretty well all considered as one, because all those countries over there, Putin has his way. He's going to try to pull them all together again, but I hope it doesn't happen, because that's the greatest thing that happened to the Soviet Union, is the idea of the democracy coming in there. And I hope he doesn't mess that up. Being a KGB, former KGB guy, got to watch him. Got to be a strong president over here to be able to deal with that thing. But, yeah, I appreciate that, because I think that guy is an asset, because he's very agile. It's kicks and everything, strong guy. And I like the competition. America against Russia back in our day with the Road Warriors, Rock and Roll Express, especially the people who were going crazy with USA, and all this. It's great to see that that's still going on there today. I think it helps pull the country together, and people get to cheer or yell for their country. It keeps the country strong, I think.
All right, we're going to have to bring this interview to a close. It's been a great time having you on here, Ivan. But before we close, you and I were talking earlier today. You're involved now with the ministries and all that. Is there anything you'd like to tell the fans now, what you're currently doing today?
Oh, yes, I'd like to. First of all, go to my website, IvanKoloff.com, and, if they want to get a picture or a book or something like that, they can order it through me or Crowbar Press. That's Scott Teal, his website. He's got some books, too, but I got some there right now, and, if you want to order some or, get a picture, autographed picture of me, it really helps my ministry, so that would be, I get some people wanting them all the time, but never too many, that's for sure. And I really enjoy that. I've been doing autographs for 22 years, different places with Children's Miracle and such, and I donate my time for that when I'm not busy with the ministry as far as officiating weddings that I do in North and South Carolina, but also speak at churches and just brag on the Lord. I mean, the real chant, the Lord of Lords, King of Kings, Jesus, our Lord and Savior. You know, it was the type of thing that for me, I was, personally a mess with the drugs and the alcohol, and I had my nephew, I quit in 89 with WCW and went into the independent circuit and wrestled for 20 years there, but I ended up having a call from my nephew Nikita because he knew I was suffering with the drugs and the alcohol and that all my career, and he told me one day, he said, Uncle Ivan, he says, I know what you need in your life. You need Jesus in your life. And I said, Nicky, what are you talking about? My dad made sure I was in church every week when I was a kid. I know who Jesus is. He says, well, the devil knows who Jesus is too, but that doesn't make him a Christian. So he says, you got to ask him to come into your heart. You got to realize that you're a sinner and that the only forgiveness of the sin is what he did on the cross, and just turn your life over to him, be a child of Almighty God. Man, at first it was like, okay, I've heard this before, but I ended up, Nikita had a lot of credibility with me because we became real good friends. It happened to him, I guess, so he became a born-again Christian. So I ended up going to the church and found myself up front because I said, if this is real, then I got another chance. God will forgive me of all my sins, and I can have a chance to get off of this drugs and alcohol because I know down deep he is for real. There's got to be a creator to all this. So anyway, long story short, I went forward, received Christ, and then, it got me off of the smoking, chewing tobacco and the marijuana, the drugs, and the drinking, the alcohol, and all that. And I didn't even have to go to any one of these clinics or halfway hours or whatever you call it. I ended up just doing it, the Lord giving me a hand because I got into the Word and had a relationship with Almighty God through Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And man, as you turn on nowadays, we go out and we put on what we call these crusades. A bunch of the other guys, it's Christians like Sting, Lex Luger, Nikita, Ted DiBiase, George South, even the Rock and Roll Express, and Ron Garvin. We go out and we end up putting on wrestling matches, giving big clean matches, and people are really entertained to get up there and give a couple testimonies of our lives and what the Lord is doing in our lives today. And the people, realize that we have some credibility with them. They come forward and receive Christ. So that's really, of course, all glory goes to the Lord, It's nothing we did. It's just the idea, a way of utilizing. God says in His Word, He takes the bad, turns it into good, but He also says in His Word, He takes the foolishness of this world to confound the wise. There's nothing more foolish if you think of it. The two grown men get in the ring and with diapers on or trunks on and try to beat each other up. So I guess that's one way to look at it. But God's been real good to me. And besides officiating weddings and speaking at churches, I've really been on the right road. I got a great wife. My daughter has got a gospel group. She sings gospel singing. Her and her husband, IHWErevival.com. If you want to go there and check it out. They're good. My daughter's got long, curly blonde hair. I claim that's the part I gave her. Somebody got it because I don't have it anymore, of course. But, just stuff like that I've been doing, and I really enjoy it. I still go to some matches that they invite me to and sign autographs and such. I really enjoy that. Done some stuff with WWE where they had me go in and do some autographs and that, but they're looking for maybe be inducted there and to be able to be part of the WWE family and do some other work, put my 2 cents worth in and maybe come up with some ideas there for them. But I'm really enjoying life. Got a good woman for a wife and grandkids and kids, and man, God's good.
Well, thank you for joining us, Ivan. Hopefully we can have you on again sometime, talk more about your career and all that, but thank you for joining us this evening.
Well, I really appreciate you guys having me on. I'm honored. Thank you so much, too. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, man.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was the legendary Russian Bear Ivan Koloff. Great interview. As was mentioned by Austin earlier in that interview, there is a Kickstarter campaign for the Ivan Koloff documentary through Elbow Productions. All you have to do is go to Kickstarter.com, search for Ivan Koloff, or you can look for the link on the IHWE Radio fan page. You can donate some money to help fund the filming of this documentary, and there are some amazing perks if you choose to donate. I'm donating the $70 package because I think it would be kind of cool to have an autographed USSR flag from Ivan Koloff. That is one of the perks for the $70 donation. You can find all those others at Kickstarter.com. Just search for Ivan Koloff or check our link on the IHWE Radio fan page. To a legend. Yep. And to become a legend, you sometimes have to start at the beginning. And that's where the new segment with IHWE Radio comes from, the Indie Wrestling Spotlight. Every month here on IHWE Radio, we will bring on a current independent wrestling star to talk about their career, how things are going so far. Just to basically get a chance to introduce somebody that we feel is someone to pay attention to, that we think one day you're going to see on TNA or Ring of Honor or WWE. Maybe not TNA, they may not be around in a year. But anyway, a future star. And tonight's guest, our first guest on the Indie Wrestling Spotlight, is none other than Miss Dyslexia. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. As I said, we wanted to have you on as the first guest for our Indie Wrestling Spotlight. I had the chance to meet you back in June at the Koloff Alley Club reunion, and I got to say, you made an instant impression on me. Very professional, in and out of the ring. You worked well with the fans and all that. You had a chance to sit with me at the table in the Nostalgia Room signing autographs and all that. And I definitely wanted to have you on as the first guest on our Indie Wrestling Spotlight.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had a lot of fun too.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I guess there's a delay. Sorry.
Oh. Now, for the fans out there, our listeners who may have not heard of you, can you tell us a little bit about your career, who you trained with, how you started, and where you can currently be seen at this time?
Well, I originally started training in Oklahoma, but I didn't finish training there. I ended up moving back to Texas, but I claim my training came from PCW in Arlington, Texas, where I live now, with BJ Turner and a little bit of Lance Hoyt. He helped train me a little bit when he was in town when he wasn't taping for TNA. And that was back in the beginning of 2006. When I was in Oklahoma, that was in 2005. And I managed and valeted while I was in training, and then my very first professional wrestling match was September 3rd, 2006 in Belton, Texas. And so it was a very large show. It was pretty awesome. But so that was almost 8 years ago, in a few weeks. Now let's see.
What was your first match like? Oh, sorry. What was your first match like?
My first match, it was a little crazy because it was actually at the Belton, I think, Convention Center or Coliseum or something like that, and it was around 5,000 to 6,000 people. So for being your very first match, it's already nerve-wracking, and then you add a few thousand people, and you've never done this in front of a crowd besides, your peers. It's probably the most nervous thing that I've had to go through. I remember right before going out, I thought I was going to throw up, and sometimes I still get that feeling depending on what's going on. But yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking. It was awesome. It was like a 5-way mess, but I enjoyed it because, it's part of what I've done, and I'll remember it always. I still have a picture. I have a picture from it somewhere. I have to find it.
I've actually had the opportunity to watch you wrestle numerous times, and I think you are awesome. There's so many, girls wrestling today, and there's a lot of them that stand out, but then there's a few that really stand out. The ones that just break out of the crowd, and then you can like point them out of millions. And I'm telling you this, I love watching you wrestle. I truly do. I've seen you the first time I actually seen you was actually at the Mid-South Wrestling Fan Fest back in April in New Orleans against Angelina Love.
Oh wow, yeah, that was a good one. That was one of those nerve-wracking ones where I thought I was going to throw up before, and and you get nervous, especially when you're working with somebody that is somewhere at TNA. You want to make a good impression, especially on the crowd. And it was WrestleMania weekend in New Orleans. That show. I will also say you're always standing there, getting ready to go out, and then you look around at who you're in the locker room with. I mean, I'm in the locker room with the Fantastics and Tommy Dreamer and Lance Hoyt and and people like that you look forward to meeting, and when you watch wrestling, but then you're in a locker room with them, and now they're your coworkers. It's a crazy feeling. Like, I remember Tommy Dreamer talking about like just different stories and lessons that he learned throughout time, and it was probably one of the most surreal things, because then Kamala was sitting there, and Ricky Morton. There's a room full of legends, and it was probably the most overwhelming experience that I've had with wrestling, besides the first match and the jitters. But like just being in a room full of legends, getting advice from them, and them talking to us and telling us to keep moving forward.
Now, on the current scene, who are some of the wrestlers that you watch now that you kind of look up to or try to pattern yourself after? Is there anyone that you follow that? Well, I think you know where I'm going.
Well, I recently, because of my roommate, Andy Dalton, watched Marufuji and been incorporating some of his stuff into my moveset. So he's gotten me into a lot more Japanese wrestlers. And I don't have cable because I'm never home, but we have a lot of wrestling DVDs, so I've been watching a lot of old ROH stuff. I've been trying to get into more of actual women's wrestling just to see. Somebody that I always looked up to back in the day, and she's not really wrestling anymore because she works for WWE, is Sarah Del Rey. I feel like she was a little bit bigger than me, but I feel like we have like the same frame and the same, style ish. So I try to watch her. I mean, I watch everybody. I especially watch people. If I know I have a match against somebody, I watch them to see what they do and see how things can be, how everything's going to interact, and how I can counter things and, work things into it.
Who's been one of your favorite opponents so far?
Favorite opponents?
Yes.
I had a pretty good match with Nevaeh out at the Gathering of the Juggalos. It was like JCW, like a women's match show for JCW. Nevaeh Christ is amazing. She's very talented and very good at what she does. And then more locally, I love working and love wrestling Barbie Hayden.
Mm-hmm. Women's champion in NWA.
Yes. Hopefully, I keep trying to take that belt from her, but it hasn't worked yet.
Now, I'm going to take a little sidetrack here for a second. I'm going to take a little sidetrack while we're on this subject. You mentioned the Gathering of the Juggalos, which is the JCW, which is Insane Clown Posse. I've heard stories about the wrestling events they put on. What is the atmosphere really like at these wrestling events that they do? Because I've heard stories.
Well, since it was a gathering, it was already intensified because that's just a crazy event. To me, it was quite another amazing experience because I've been to gatherings before, Gathering of the Juggalos, as just a fan. And so I got to go and be talent at the show this time, so that was pretty cool. But it was a little crazy. A lot of the people there seem to be like actual wrestling fans, and then there's a few hecklers. They're probably drunk, and I'll be honest, since I am one and I have the tattoos to prove it, they were jackasses. Excuse my language, but that's normal. That's considering how I've been to wrestling events at the Gathering before, where they used to throw in lots of 2-liter bottles and things at the wrestlers. They didn't really do that. There was 1 or 2 matches where they did that, but then the actual wrestling fans kind of got them to stop. So that was pretty neat. It was kind of just like a wrestling show, except for they were just a little bit louder, a little more rowdy, and some of them were kind of jerk-offs more than normal.
Now, what advice would you give to someone who's breaking into the business?
Advice for somebody breaking into the business?
Yes.
To keep your mouth shut, ears open, and just learn from everything because you will never stop learning in this business. I still continue to learn. I think people that have been in this business 25 years continue to learn. You can learn something from somebody else no matter what it is, whether it be about even somebody younger, because there's something in the match that happened or something in the locker room that happened that you didn't know, or you can work on and maybe they're better at it, or just, there's so much to do and so much to learn in life and in wrestling and just etiquette, and that you'll never stop learning. And that's the one thing. Don't stop learning. Keep your mouth shut and open your ears. And
yeah, I was impressed with getting to meet you at the Koloff Alley Club reunion. This is Brian Westcott, by the way. And hopefully you impressed Dan Murphy of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. He just finished writing up the PWI 500. So now he's going to be working on the PWI Female 50, and I hope we get to see you in that this year. Can you picture yourself going to Shimmer or Shine and taking on cheerleader Melissa Anderson or Mischief or Jessica Havoc, Allison Kay, anyone you could think of?
I have some things going on right now where I'm trying to get video together and, get my resume together and send it off to these companies. I'm doing a road trip here. It's trying to get my name out a little bit more, so maybe I will work for some of these companies in the near future. I do, like I said, I have this road trip coming up. I'm leaving September 5th from here. I have a show in Indiana against Crazy Mary Dobson, and then I'm working twice for Rockstar Pro, and then I got the word that I can announce it, the New England Female Wrestling Federation. It's a customs company, but they have Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh and a lot of those girls at these custom matches, so I will get a chance to wrestle a lot of these people. Now that's up to the fans to buy custom matches and put me in them, but I still have a chance and an opportunity. And the more you work with these girls, if a promoter hears your name and the girls know you and they tell me, yeah, she's really good, that always helps. So hopefully I'm working on it. Like I said, working on video and sending my resume and sending some emails out. But I'm having a little difficulty with putting the videos together. I don't know. Some people have probably seen on Facebook me blasting. Anybody can help me with editing video. So that's where I'm at now, just trying to put it all together. So when I do email people, I can send it out and do it the proper way.
Now, a few moments ago. Okay. Now, a few moments ago, you mentioned, in this business, it's a constant learning process, regardless if you've been in the business 1 day, 1 year, 10 years, what have you, with all the aspects of the business, whether it be, the in-ring work, the ring psychology, learning the interview, the promo, if you will. What would be your strong points, in your opinion, your strong points that you're comfortable with, and what aspects do you feel that you need to learn or work on? No disrespect, but like I said, you mentioned that in this business it's always about learning. So I was curious, what are your strong points?
My strong points, I think I'm able to interact with the crowd, and I'm not saying promos. Interacting with the crowd is probably one of my biggest strong points, I believe. For some reason, especially most places that I'm at, they hate me, and I don't care. It's only because I'm wanting to beat Barbie Hayden, and there's not much that I have to do to get them to hate me. It's actually I give a little boy a certain look, or I don't even have to tell them you suck. Like I don't know what it is. It comes naturally. That's kind of a weird thing to say, that I'm naturally a jerk. But I'm not saying promos, because I think promos is probably one of my weaker points that I could definitely work on more. I love to talk, but then you put a mic in front of my face and I have to stand in front of the stage and just talk to people, and it kind of throws me off. Like, talking on here is not that bad for me, but in a way I've picked up something where I have to practice my speaking skills. I'm doing a public speaking gig at a military base in November, so I have to practice my promos and my speaking on a mic rather than just taunting somebody right in front of my face.
Goodness. Okay.
Now this Saturday, this Saturday you're going to be appearing at the IHWE Showdown. Do you have anything you'd like to say about your match this coming weekend?
Not much. I've wrestled Peyton Gates before. I've beat her many a time. She's beat me once in East Texas. Lucky girl. But she knows what's headed for her, so maybe she's been getting ready. We'll see what happens.
All right, and you'll also be appearing, I believe, in September at the Old School Hustle. Is that correct?
Yes. That's kind of a weird setup of a match. I'm not really sure, but I'm used to, working by myself. It's a tag match, which I have no idea who my partner is going to be. Nobody knows who their partner is going to be. It's me, Delilah Doom, Peyton Gates, and Jessica James, which I'm hoping Jessica James is my partner, because I know she's been to Japan several times, and she's made me tap out once or twice. But at the same time, if we win, I have to later face whoever my partner is, because I already know I'm a winner. Hopefully, anyway. But it's a tag match, and then the winners go on to face each other one-on-one to be crowned, I guess, Queen of IHWE.
The Queen of the Ring, yeah, and that'll be presented by Karen Merritt.
Yes, I met her at CAC, and she was a very nice lady. I like her.
Karen's awesome.
You actually speak of Japan, and one person I think you definitely have to mention just recently coming back from Japan is Kyle O'Reilly. He's going to be at Old School Hustle September 28th. I don't know if you guys watch Kyle O'Reilly, but I know I've been watching Ring of Honor. Kyle O'Reilly's probably, and I've said this numerous times, I think he's probably the best wrestler in the world today, maybe. In my opinion, at least, I think he's so good at what he does, and people are really going to have a treat watching him in the ring, the Old School Hustle on September 28th.
Was there a question involved there, Austin, or are we just making a statement?
Oh, no, it was a comment, because Kyle O'Reilly is amazing.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think everyone who works with IHWE in their own way is amazing. We have some amazing talent working for us, and definitely Old School Hustle is going to be a great show. I am looking forward to the ladies' match, and yes, of course, we do know Miss Dyslexia is a winner. That is why David and I, on behalf of IHWE, have put her name in as a nominee for the Cauliflower Alley Club Future Legend Award next year at the 50th annual reunion. So we're confident enough that, we think that she's got what it takes to be one of the top names in this sport, and we are happy to put our names behind her in this nomination.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, you guys.
All right, well, that unfortunately is the end of our Indie Wrestling Spotlight tonight. Thank you for joining us. As you said, people can see you this Saturday at Showdown at the Action Martial Arts Center in Fort Worth, Texas. They can also see you September 28th for IHWE at Old School Hustle. And do you have any other upcoming dates that you would like to promote real quick?
Like I said, Destination 1, New Albany, Indiana, September 6th, which is a Saturday, and then I'll be at Rockstar Pro in Dayton, Ohio, September 10th and 17th. And then the New England Female Wrestling Customs, which you can order a custom match with me or any of their roster, and that is September 14th. I'm working on some other dates, hopefully, while I'm out and about. But if you can follow me on Twitter, and I'll post a whole bunch more stuff about my dates and what's happening with me. It's Miss Dyslexia. It's MISSDISS_LEXIA. I have Facebook as well, but I'm already at Max Friends, but I do have a like page. So same concept, same name everywhere you go.
All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was our Indie Wrestling Spotlight this month, shining on Miss Dyslexia. We are currently in talks with a few other names for next month's Indie Wrestling Spotlight. I hope everyone enjoyed this interview as well as upcoming interviews. We definitely want to make sure that these young up-and-comers have their chance to get out there and let people know who they are, where they can find them, and what they're doing, because they are the future of this business. Everyone started off in an indie ring, started off wrestling in an indie ring. So, these are the future of this industry, and they need to have their time in the spotlight to make sure their careers go on and they become the next Rock or John Cena, or in this case, top divas, I guess we could say, the next AJ Lee, but we'll go with it. All right, we have one more guest on the line. I believe we are being joined by Roxy from the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Oh, my God. Hi, David. How are you?
This is Michael. David is sitting home in Fort Worth, Texas, listening and hoping I don't screw this up.
Well, then don't stop. But I'm gonna wish him a happy belated birthday. I did. Well, this is my first time talking to you, then, right?
I was actually part of the Glow tribute that we did a couple months ago, last month. I don't know if you actually heard me too much in there, but I was part of that. I think David kind of took over by the time you had come on.
I both kind of have that same habit, so we're good. We're good like that, taking over.
Definitely a talent. If you haven't had a chance to see her yet, you should check it out. Whatever.
Yeah, I want to look her up. I like that. That was a good interview.
Now, you've got a project coming up. We touched on it briefly during the Glow reunion last month, and that's the Afterglow Party. Currently running on Kickstarter. I believe you have a couple days left on that campaign.
Okay, it ends on August 31st at 2:12 p.m. Pacific time, and so I watch the clock, and that's exactly when it turns over. Even though it says 3 days left, Sunday is going to be the last day. But the thing is, when we get the pledges in, it makes everybody feel like we're that much closer, and it kind of boosts up the pledging when people do that. Like, don't wait till the last minute, because then it's not going to happen. So we're kind of all on pins and needles. We're all ready to go. The Afterglow fan party is going to be something like you've never seen or heard before, obviously, because it's 12 of the original Glow girls. I mean, who can say that they've seen us lately, unless you were in Vegas? But this is going to be so much better. It's no wrestling. It's just Q&A with the fans, and the Afterglow is going to take over. I'm telling you, this is going to be good.
Now, what can the fans expect with the Afterglow Party?
I'm sorry, I have a car driving by. What was that?
What can fans expect with the Afterglow Party?
What do we expect after it?
No, what can the fans expect if they attend the Afterglow Party?
Okay. hang in with me. I'm in California, and every time there's a car, it sucks out here to get any signal on your phone. They can expect interacting with the original Glow Girls, but we call them the Afterglow because these Glow Girls, they're actually who they are. They get to know who we are, and we get to ask the fans questions also because we're on Facebook with them. We're on Facebook with them every single day. But it's going to be a fan party. There's going to be a lot of surprises. If you can think anything Glow, that's what's going to be there. From the glitter to the pink to the personalities, it's all going to be there. So, I mean, we got to start somewhere, so why not L.A.? On Melrose is where I'm looking. I'm not going to say the place yet. I don't want to jinx it. So, because we got to get just past this hump and get to our goal. So, I mean, any pledge at this point can help, and it's just bringing us that much closer to making the Afterglow fan party a reality. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. What are your thoughts of it?
Well, I've had the chance to meet a lot of the girls at the Cauliflower Alley reunions, and so I would love to attend the Afterglow party, but I'm about 12 hours away from Los Angeles, so I unfortunately will not be able to make it. I am going to make a donation, though, because I would love to see this happen.
Well, that's good.
And
well, then with a donation, we'll send you things.
Now, that was going to be my next question there. As always with Kickstarter campaigns, as you donate money, there are perks involved in it. What are some of the perks that come along with the donations for the Afterglow party?
Okay, well, from $1, you get it starts from $1. So if you can give $1, $1 helps. You get your shout out. You can ask any of the people that have donated; they've gotten their shout out. And $5, you get it'll be a letter, but it'll just be an envelope filled either with glitter or dirt. From glitter from me, obviously Roxy Astor, to dirt. It could be from Gremlin or one of the bad girls. So whatever they decide to put in it. And you can get autographed pictures. You can get T-shirts signed by the Afterglow cast, which are the original girls, of course, Glow. DVDs now. Now, we added, so the fans that can't be there, we are now going to film it so they can either get for $25 unsigned, and for $50 they get a signed DVD. So, I mean, this is stuff that, and pictures, autographed pictures, of course. And I know a lot of fans have been asking us online for autographed pictures. Well, here's your time to get it. And I think that's for like a $15 donation. So this is your chance to get it. And if you want to go real big, did you hear about the $1,000 one, which everybody's afraid to take me up on? A date with Roxy.
I've heard a rumor about it, but why don't you go ahead and tell everybody?
Well, I kind of threw that in for a joke, and that's why I did the bodyguard. I'm like, okay, nobody's doing it. Phew, okay. But you never know. I mean, this is a crazy world, and you just don't know. So, and I actually there's also an artist. If you look at the Kickstarter, we have this amazing artist named Jenner De Vera who does all the cartoons. And he's offered his artwork and let me use that because he's been drawing the girls, the Glow Girls, for years. And I think it's like $350. He will actually turn one of the fans into either a character, or it could be an Afterglow Glow character from how he sees them. So somebody can be actually a cartoon character for a donation. And you get all the perks that I just mentioned. So, I mean, we're stacking up on perks here.
All right, and that is good until Sunday is the last day of that.
That is it.
If anyone is interested in donating to the Afterglow party and have a chance to get to meet these girls, and I will say it was a pleasure to meet so many of you over the last couple of years at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. In fact, this last year, due to scheduling and the way it was set up, the IHWE radio table was right next to the Glow table, so I had a chance to sit with Lightning and Dallas and all that. So
and I didn't get to go. I didn't go last year.
But you're going to come to the 50th, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think most of the girls are going to go to the 50th. I mean, for the CAC, turning 50, got to be there. I know what it's like to turn 50, so we got to support.
Most definitely. But if anyone would like to donate to this campaign, you can find the link to...
We call it pledging.
Pledging. Okay. If anyone would like to pledge to the Afterglow party, you can find the links on the IHWE Facebook page, the IHWE Radio Facebook page, or you can go to Kickstarter, just search for Glow After Party. All the information will be right there. It's a simple click to make a pledge or donation, however you wish to call it. I've donated a few times to various projects. As I said, I am donating this one. Let's get this Glow After Party going, because if they do it in L.A. and it proves well, they might travel around. Maybe they might hit my neck of the woods. They might hit Northern California.
That's our dream, is to make it, but we got to start somewhere, because this is where most of the girls are, right here. So it's unfair to go somewhere when we don't have, the right amount of funds to do it the right way. So this is the place that we got to start.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this thing going. And Roxy, thank you for joining us on here tonight for the last little minute kind of push to get the Glow After Party going. And we will definitely post those links.
I appreciate your support. You guys have been great. You guys are what keep me going. I love talking to you guys on Facebook.
Well, as I said in the Glow show here last month, whatever, it was a childhood dream of mine to be able to sit and talk with a bunch of the Glow girls, because I grew up watching the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. So,
and we hear that, and I love to hear that. That's why we want to hear your guys' stories about what you were doing when you were watching as a kid. We've heard some great stories. We won't go there, but we've heard great stories.
I was about to say, you may not want to know what some people were doing.
They tell us. They tell us in detail. And I'm like, keep it clean. We don't want to hear it. Keep the fantasy, but not that. Oh, yeah.
I sat in my living room on the couch with usually a bowl of cereal, watching at about 10 a.m. Now it's 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I was eating cereal. It was
eating your
time.
Captain Crunch. And that's when we didn't have remotes. I think you had to get up and turn the channel.
Yes. I was the remote control. Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Oh, my God, that's sad.
Actually, one thing for me, I was actually going to say that one thing that me and my mom can actually relate to. My mom doesn't really watch that much wrestling now than what she did, when she was a teenager. That's one thing we talk about is the Glow, with everything that you guys have done in the past, and that's something we can really, talk about for a while, because, I'm really big into professional wrestling and the history of it, and the Glow is definitely in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was good to be a part of that history. I don't think there's going to be anything even like that. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and I think Glow kind of did, for what it was. It was, campy and outrageous, and I think we opened the doors for a lot of the girls to, be who you are when you're wrestling, because most of us Glow girls were who we were. So that's why we love talking to the fans now, because they kind of keep us in that moment.
All right, well, Roxy, thank you for joining us. We're coming to the end of our show, so we're going to have to wrap this up. But everyone, go out. Right. The links are on our Facebook pages. You can find it on Kickstarter. Roxy's on Facebook. You can find her. The link is through there. Go out, pledge. Let's make the Glow After Party a reality.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely British lady has just spoken in my ear. We are down to the last 90 seconds of our show, so we're just going to do a quick wrap-up here. On behalf of Joe, Austin, Brian, and myself, thank you for joining us on this week's edition of IHWE Radio. I hope you enjoyed our interviews. Please join us next week. We will be joined by Brian Shields, the author of 30 Years of WrestleMania and the WWE Encyclopedia. 60 seconds to go. And also we will be joined by Charlie Haas, who will be appearing at Old School Hustle September 28th. And at the top of the hour, right after this show goes off the air, tune in to IHWE TV on youtube.com/IHWE 2009. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.